On September 17th, that's late last night according to India time, the US Federal Reserve cut its benchmark rate by 25 basis points. This is the first cut since December 2024. The Fed also projected 2 additional cuts by year end, though Chair Jerome Powell emphasized that these are conditional on incoming data and not a guarantee.
No one really knows where the economy will be in 3 years, but the nature of the exercise is to write down policy that you believe would return to the 2% goal over at least by the end of the exercise.
Was this expected? Largely yes. Markets had priced in the 25 BP move, so the surprise wasn't the cut but the cautious tone in Powell's speech.
Inflation has eased significantly from its highs in mid-2022, but remains somewhat elevated relative to our 2% longer-run goal. The committee decided to lower the target range for the federal funds rate by a quarter percentage point to 4 to 4.25%. While the unemployment rate remains low, it has edged up. Job gains have slowed, and downside risks to employment have risen. Higher tariffs have begun to push up prices in some categories of goods, but their overall effects on economic activity and inflation remain to be seen. GDP rose at a pace of around 1.5% in the first half of the year, down from 2.5% last year. The moderation in growth largely reflects a slowdown in consumer spending.
Risk management is key. Remember, Powell is also constantly pushing back against government pressure to go faster. Reactions? Nasdaq outperformed, gold prices fell, dollar pressures persisted, Asian markets gave mixed reactions, while Indian markets did not react significantly except some IT stocks which did better. But what are the near-term trends? Will FII money come back? Will the Sensex and Nifty touch record highs by the end of this year? I ask ET Markets editor Nishant Vasudevan these and other questions in today's episode. It's Friday, the 19th of September. I'm Anirban Chaudhary. This is the Morning Brief. Hi Nishant, very warm welcome to the Morning Brief. As always, good to have you.
Thanks, Anirban. Lovely to be here.
So big night last night. The Fed's rate cut has finally happened and it's more or less in line with market expectations. Also, the Fed has signaled 2 more rate cuts this year. Let's quickly get to what do these things mean for the Indian market now.
So, Anirban, on the face of it, the Fed appeared dovish. Basically, there's a bit of a softness in the labor market over there, which essentially means that there are indications that the economy is slowing. So, the rate cut has interestingly come at a time when Donald Trump has been piling on a lot of pressure on the Fed and Jerome Powell. But somewhere investors had to kind of temper their optimism after Powell's press conference. Some of the comments he made, because first he said that the rate cut is a risk management cut, which essentially means that larger rate cuts are being reserved for a situation when the economic outlook turns grim. Also, somewhere what market participants are not ruling out is a scenario of stagflation where it's inflation plus a slowing economy kind of a scenario. So Fed is not really lowering its guard. The equity markets is kind of reacted rather modestly, are not risen in a big way. Yesterday the US bond yields actually rose. Normally you would expect that it would actually drop along with the expectations of a rate cut while dollar rose. So generally it has been a mixed reaction. So on the face of it, it's actually been a conservative outlook. Rather, there were a lot of expectations before the Fed meet that a lot is going to change. It's going to turn a lot more bullish. But the general sense you get is that the conservative outlook for equities, it stays in the near future.
Understood. So then, the fact that a lot of domestic market participants have been expecting foreign flows to revive, should they taper those expectations?
See, there are too many moving elements in that overall picture. See, the unofficial rule book is that lower rates, a weaker dollar, more money flows out of the US into emerging markets. And when that scenario happens, India is always benefited from that trade, because whenever the dollar weakens, foreigners take money out of the US and put money into emerging markets like India and China. The point over here is that will that same equation play out this time also? Everybody knows that in the past year or so, foreigners have been quite bearish on India. So, will that change after this Fed meet? May not happen, because, again, it depends on other factors also, like growth in India, like the valuations, which have been kind of pricey compared to other emerging markets. All these factors also have to kind of fall in place.
Understood. Okay. Also, we are increasingly seeing calls of the Sensex and Nifty hitting all time highs before year end. And there are two more cuts probably coming. So, is that a possibility now?
Yes, yes, it is very much a possibility. In fact, Sensex and Nifty are just maybe around 4% away from their all time highs. So all it requires is just a push. And it is very much possible that the Nifty might even cross the 26,000 mark soon. So that is not a problem. See, all what has been happening so far is that FIIs have been selling. At the same time, the that is not exactly resulted in a fall because of the domestic money that is coming into the market. Now let's take a scenario that FIIs tone down their selling. There is a very high possibility that the market moves up, let's say, another 10 to 15%. But again, it will all depend on the composition. What stocks are going up, what sectors will go up. Probably small and mid caps might not participate as much as large caps. But if large caps move up, small and mid caps will also probably move up 8 to 10%.
So, Nishant, what will make foreign investors bullish on India again?
Oh, that's that's $1 million question. And Anirban, as we discussed, everybody is expecting that a weakening dollar will kind of result in flows into India. But there is more to it. So far, India has been one of the fastest growing economies in the world. But the problem is that it has always been, what is the price that you're paying for that growth? See, our nominal GDP, it has been in the range of 11 to 12, on the more optimistic side, even some people say 13% over the last many years. So the Sensex Nifty returns have been around 11 to 12%, maybe 13% also once in a while. So what has happened in the past 1 year is that the nominal GDP has fallen to single digits, around the 8 9 percentage. And that is what has happened to returns also. The returns expectations have also slowed down to 8 to 9 percentage. Now, the point is that if you have a slowing economy, the question what foreign investors would ask is that why would I want to pay this kind of a premium valuations for investing in a country like India? So, somewhere the valuation growth dynamics at the moment, that is probably a reason why a lot of money these days in the past couple of months has been flowing into China. So, there are several elements to it. Probably the long term investors would want to see some more credibility in the growth story, but they want that kicker. They want that what can you give us more than what any other normal markets give us. So that is where we are at the moment. That said, there would be some short term flows that will kind of push up India at the moment, but the long term money is still not big time bullish on it.
Right. So, it boils down to that one question where we end most of our markets episode. What should investors do now?
Yeah, I mean, that is super complicated. See, everybody says that if you stay invested in India, you are going to make good money. You're going to make competitive returns. And that's very much possible. So, by long term, I would say, 5, 7, 10 years, you will make anywhere between 12 to 15%. But I guess everybody wants to know what happens, over the next 2, 3 years. that is where the challenge is. That is where the valuation element comes into picture. So at the moment, a lot of senior fund managers, in private, when you talk to them, they say that more of the incremental money, you don't have to kind of be aggressive in equities. You can probably be a little more conservative. You could probably look at other asset classes. See, gold has risen quite a bit, but still a lot of people are still a lot more bullish on gold rather than equities. Not from a point of view that you put in lump sum money into gold, but incrementally you can put in a lot of money in gold, given that the inflation outlook in the US, it is just about playing out at the moment. So let's say that if tariff is inflationary, still gold will continue to be the asset class which will be in demand. Equities may not be from that point of view. So the basic thing is that your traditional asset allocation used to be about 60, 70, 80% to equities. You need not go that aggressive into equities, maybe 50% in equities or even lesser. But gold and silver remain the most sought after asset class, followed by bonds and equities. So you just need to spread it across till you get more clarity on what will be the impact of tariffs and other things on the global economy. And then probably take a call on the basis of how much of money you want to kind of incrementally invest in equities, or even your lump sum, how much you would like to kind of put into equities. So investors will probably do better by spreading it out across asset classes rather than just going all out into just gold or just going all out into equities.
So the Fed's risk management cut may steady nerves, but its cautious tone keeps markets guessing. For India, valuations remain lofty and foreign inflows uncertain. With gold and bonds drawing fresh interest, the smart money is leaning on balanced asset allocation, as Nishant said. Stay diversified, stay patient. That seems to be the clear signal from a cloudy global outlook. That's all for today. This episode was produced by Vinay Joshi, sound designed by Amrit Reggie. A new episode of The Morning Brief drops every Tuesday, Thursday and Friday on a listening platform of your choice. Also, don't miss our brand new show, Corner Office Conversation, where we talk to the most interesting business leaders in India and the world every alternate Monday, wherever you get your podcasts. Have a good weekend.